In the previous lesson, we talked about the fact that our meeting with the clients is the first puzzle piece where we start any interior design project. Well, after we take notes and analyze the information, we must create a sketch. I've picked a sketch from one of my previous projects so we can work with it as an example. And also, we will tie our Vray learning to exercises that will, in a more simple way, help us to understand how to apply all Vray instruments into practice, as we are talking about interior design. First of all, let's point out first three things that are linked to Vray. We can see here the Vray toolbar. Here we can find most of the instruments, but there are a bunch of functions that are not included here. Second thing, we see here some Vray buttons as well, and we will need for now from here this one, or we can press F10. It's a hotkey. From all these functions, for now we will have to check first that our Vray frame buffer is active. This means that we will render using Vray engine and its window that contains as well some instruments. But we will talk about these instruments a bit later. And third thing, it's the size of our future render or image. We can set here this size in pixels. We must keep in mind a very important thing. The final result that you send to your client, it's almost all the time an image. And client is seeing that image usually on a phone. That's why we should stick first of all to a good ratio. That ratio is depending how our interior looks. Still a canvas or a surface, in other words, that will hold our future image, must have a good pleasant ratio. That will help your client to perceive your result or your render with additional plus points. If your ratio is bad, you will probably not hit that agreement level. Client is paying you to receive pleasant proportion in his future design, and the ratio of your future work or your future render is the first step to success. We will talk more on ratio after we will talk about cameras. For now, let's use 2:1 ratio. You can see here, by the way, a lot of templates. You can use them as well, but 2000 by 1000 pixels, it's okay for the start. We can use as well 6K or 8K for final renders, but we will talk about that a bit later. And as I said, we will talk more on ratio later. This is very important in your render perception by anyone who sees your image, not only your clients. Now, last thing that I would like to say, by the way how your sketch looks, you will be able to tell how your image ratio will look like. For example, if you got a square space, probably you will use a 1:1 ratio, also a square. Okay, that also depends on how high is your ceiling. We will get back to ratio a bit later. Now, our main things to start our render are set.